And then you were in salon suites, and then you did a hybrid, and now on your own. So what was that like?
Not everyone wants just a suite or to run their own business. Like sometimes they just want like good mentorship and community.
When did you realize that the CEO hat, like the owner of the business, the entrepreneur hat, was a better fit for you than the stylist hat? Because that's a huge transition that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with.
There's even a lot of people that are charging a lot of money for classes that I've even hosted. And I've been like, oh, like that is not, you're not really teaching people.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Pivot to Profit. We have the amazing rock star, Gina Micheletti. What's up, girl?
Thanks for having me, Pam. This is so exciting.
I am so excited to talk to you. Your story is one that definitely needs to be told. So let me officially introduce you. Gina is the owner of Slay Bae Beauty Co. in Nashville, one of my favorite cities.
Okay.
She started her business in a salon suite, eventually grew to running an 8 stylist hybrid salon inside of suites, and made the jump into her own big location in 2023. She says it has been the hardest thing she's ever done, but she's determined to build profit. Yes, queen.
Yeah.
And fun fact, Gina was on Nashville's season of Married at First Sight, and y'all, she said yes and married a stranger. So I cannot wait to dive in, Gina, to your crazy story, which I love. Before we do, look, if you're a business owner out there who doesn't understand where your numbers is, profit is not something that's in your vocabulary. Just go to pamjordan.com. My team would love to talk to you. All right, Gina, you ready to dive in?
I'm ready.
All right, so origin story time. What did little Gina want to be when she grew up?
Oh my gosh. So I feel like cosmetology is like in my veins, right? Like I had a lot of family members, like distant family members that did it. My mom was actually a manicurist. So she did nails for 30 years and she was a single mom, it was just me and her. And she actually worked for the longest like stint of time that I remember in a tanning salon when tanning beds were like really popping off and getting popular. So the salon, we grew up outside of Memphis in a town called Germantown, not Germantown, Nashville, Germantown outside of Memphis, but she worked in a space called German Tan and Nails. And so
I love it.
yeah.
Cute.
And so I remember the work ethic wasn't much different when I was like in elementary school. I remember going up there and like hanging out after school, and I would sit up there and do my homework and ask if I could clean the tanning beds or like help check people out or whatever it was. So I was kind of thrown into that industry really early on. So I kind of always had that like yearn to want to do it. But I actually went to school for broadcasting. And so I loved TV and theater growing up.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, when you were in the salon and in the tanning salons, what were you taught about money? Was money good? Was money bad? Do you want it? Do you not want it? What was your mindset about it? Money.
I would say, and this is still something we're going to dive right in and get like super vulnerable early on. But I mean, like I said a second ago, I grew up with a single mom. My dad never contributed, wasn't really involved. And so she was a single mom, like working as a nail tech in this area that was like primarily a luxury place to live outside of Memphis. It's kind of like a ritzy suburb town. And honestly, I was taught like scarcity mindset pretty early. Like I was pretty scared of money. Like, are we going to run out? Are we going to be able to pay bills? Like that sort of thing. And I remember feeling that as far back as a kid, like for my mom being nervous.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy what we're taught in that environment. So you
Mhm.
say that your dream was to go to cosmetology, but you went to college for broadcasting. So like
That's
what
scarcity.
happened? Because now, Queen, you are owner of Slay Bae Beauty Co. back in cosmetology. So tell us about that little journey.
Well, I think that I had this like, and so many stylists, I feel like back, even when I started going to hair school, had that like preconceived notion that hairstylists don't make money, you don't have benefits. Like, and so and I still struggle with this today of being like, okay, I'm not going to like have that mindset. Like, I don't want to be scared of money. It's just a tool. It's like a constant battle to feel like you're not going to lose it all. And so I learned that a lot at a conference that you taught at of like, what is your tie to money? And I still like struggle with that thought. So while I always loved hairstyling, I almost felt like I don't want to end up with not having money. And I thought like if I did that, that I would be in that boat and be like scared of money or like living paycheck to paycheck and not having health insurance and all the things. And so went to college, and in college, two of my best friends, like that I didn't even know as a kid, I met them when I think one of them dropped out in college to go to hair school. And then I met her friend through hair school, and they like loved it. And they were talking about how like they actually were making money. So it's like, okay, I think I could do this. Like I've always loved it. Never thought I would be where I was today. And I've kind of been chasing how much you can make in this industry because I specialize in hair extensions. So it's kind of incredible the amount of money that there is to be made in the hair world that I never even could fathom going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hair extensions are a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of hair salon styles, as clients, and it's the ones that are doing the extensions are the ones that are definitely
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
killing it when it comes, because there isn't a ceiling of how much you can make, because people will pay lots of money,
Yeah.
thousands of dollars to put those extensions in and then come in and get them adjusted. And, once you have extensions, you can't just like walk around and not about them. Like, they need to be serviced. And so it's a great recurring revenue model as well for hairstyles that I think a lot of people are intimidated to go into. So how did you figure out that extensions were like your thing?
So right out of school, I actually worked for 13 years bartending and like in the service industry. So 7 of those were spent on Broadway, like downtown. Like you have to think like live music, like the
Love it.
whole honky tonk. I worked at Honky Tonk Central was literally the name of the bar. And I was there for 7 years. So when I went into doing hair, the struggle that I see a lot of the stylists in my salon have with like the pain of building a book, they're like, we don't have money, like we're waiting, kind of playing the waiting game.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I never really had that because I had bartending to fall back on. So when you work downtown, that's a whole nother ball game. But I mean, you can easily make over 6 figures working a couple days a week in those honky tonks. So hair for me was like fun, like it was like a side job that I was able to take a little bit longer to build. And then you're working with these girls. I was one of them that have a lot of disposable like cash. And so they're like, whether they were singers or even the other bartenders, they have disposable cash and they want their hair to look good. They want to like flip it around behind the bar or on stage. And so I took my first hair extension class and wore them myself too, and just like loved them. This was 2014. And then I just started kind of convincing all the girls that I work with to get hair extensions because I wanted to practice. And it just kind of took off from there. I did eye tips in the beginning, which like is kind of outdated now, but I was like the eye tip queen. I would do them all day long. I just had fun with it. And then still not realizing how lucrative it was. And then I got hooked up with a company called Bellamy. They kind of entered the scene and were known as like the Maserati of hair extensions at the time. Like they were the most luxurious brand. And they also started, I would say like they pioneered one of the best education programs for stylists. And they asked me very early, like I was, I think in the second round draft pick for educators. And so I taught for them for 5 years and noticed like the more methods that I was able to do, the more clients I would have because my tool belt was bigger. Right. And so there was that, like being able to specialize in different methods. And in Nashville, they just weren't well known. Like even when I first started, I would go to take videos and like before and afters, my clients would be like, please don't show my face. Like they didn't want anyone to know. And so now it's kind of changed to where it's saturated and lots of people do extensions, but I think I just got in really at the right time and the education piece helped really like grow my business.
And you were able to distinguish yourself in social media as the expert in the industry
Right.
really early on. And that helped propel you far and above other people because you had this huge following before you were even had your own salon.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about the journey of, okay, I'm bartending and I'm moonlighting as an extension, stylist. And then you were in salon suites and then you did a hybrid and now on your own. So what was that like?
Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. And it's also been something that I've had to, it like gave me a big fear of money. Like I'll have to tell my whole story, but I've slowly like come out of that, I would say in the last 6 months. But so I started, in the suites and like you said, moonlighting. I was literally like paying my rent in the suites with bartending. So I was like, it's fine. Like we're making good money. So I did that. And then once I started educating, I had stylists reaching out that wanted to learn from me. And I was like, well, I'm getting busier and I need an apprentice. So then I started hiring apprentices. And once I had apprentices, I would get more stylists that reached out really through education. Like I got known kind of in Nashville as like, okay, this girl knows what she's doing. I want to work with her so I can learn, extensions and everything. And so I had people start reaching out for jobs. And I thought it was so strange at the time because I was like, but I'm in suites. Like I don't have a salon. Like you could literally get a suite right next door to me. So why would you want to work and have me pay you? So that was kind of cool to be able to realize like, okay, not everyone wants just a suite or to run their own business. Like sometimes they just want like good mentorship and community. So I started building this like mini salon inside of suites and I had 2 double suites and a large. Well, then I was like, okay, I'm paying like $8,000 in rent a month, like inside of suites because I had so many rented out that I decided it was time to open like a big girl commercial space. I was like, all right, we're like bursting at the seams. People are waiting in the hallways. Like we don't have any storage. Like time. And so I really did hone in on, they say like, don't move too fast, right? Like don't expand until you're like bursting at the seams. So I really like ran home with that. And I was like, okay, it's definitely time. So I signed my first commercial lease in, I think it was December. It was like New Year's Eve of 21. And I had hired this contractor that was a personal referral. He had helped design my friend's space across the street. She does like brows and lashes and stuff. Hired him and he told me it was going to be like 150,000 for the build out portion. And I was like, okay, like from what I've heard on podcasts, that's probably right. And so I had thought like, okay, I'll budget around 250,000 just to like for like chairs and mirrors and decor and everything. So got a line of credit, started the process, invested a ton of money. Well, we started build out. Let's see, I signed the lease in December. We got our permits in like May. We started build out and he called me in June. And mind you, I didn't sign he didn't even bid the project for me. So I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like blindly trusting. I'd never done this before. I hear this happens a lot. And he called me in June. We were supposed to open in August and told me that things were going to be a little more expensive than he had anticipated, which was actually the build out cost. I had to end up terminating him per like the landlord's request. Things just got.
No.
Meanwhile, I'm like marrying a stranger on TV. Like I get this news the same summer. And in reality, once I did get 2 contracting companies to bid the project, it was anywhere from $495 to $615 just for the base construction.
No mirrors, no chairs, no sinks.
Nothing. That was just construction, like 600,000 over that. And that wasn't even with like any contracting fees. Like, so I was looking at like, maybe close to $1 million to build a space. And I'd felt so like led astray. And I'd also felt like I didn't do my due diligence to really, I trusted referrals and I didn't know like to think any differently. I had seen his work. And these were like close friends of mine that he had worked for. And I had to sit down. I'll never forget. I had to sit down in this big glass room and talk to these like men that own this 60,000 square foot commercial space and basically be like, hey, I don't have money for this. Like, even if I got an SBA loan, it's going to take, another potentially 5 months to get it. And so I had to pay $25,000 to just break the lease, like just to get out of it.
It's like, you can't do it.
For me was like, okay, well, that's less than 600,000 that I don't have. So that was my first attempt at opening. And then I went through a couple hiccups in between, finally landed on the space that I'm in now. And Nashville's kind of crazy with commercial leasing. Like it goes really fast because it's a big transient city.
Huge demand.
Yeah, huge demand. So I had 22 hours to sign the lease that I'm in now. Also wasn't able to do like a full walkthrough on it. And it ended up putting me financially under just to like, it was a turnkey salon, but it just needed so much work that I mean, every time I turned around, it was like $8,000 for the AC unit or this, like things were just breaking left and right. So truly like that scarcity mindset that I felt in my childhood, like crept in because I had gone from being so financially stable in the suites and being like, oh my God, I've made it. Like we're going to jump to the next thing. And then I truly just like lost it all and was sent back into this like financial panic. And we're slowly like working our way out of it. But it was just a lot of debt, a lot of unexpected cost. And we're just now slowly even to the point of like, I just became like the overdraft queen. Like the money doesn't come in fast enough to like cover the liabilities, but I know it's a season. And that's part of the reason I've hired your company is like, we're going to do it. Like we're going to get there. It's just, I took a loss and I'm building up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how did you handle conversations with banks and landlords? Because those are stressful.
They're stressful. I mean, my leasing company and our rent is very expensive. Like it's really like when I got into the space, that was another thing. Like I did all the renovations on it and got it to a place of like, okay, I really like it. Well, I also moved in and was like, okay, well, now that I'm in, I have all this space I need to hire. So I like hired, I got up to like 16 stylists. Well, maybe two of them were actually producing. So then I've like guaranteed payroll to all of these people. So that ate up my cash flow really, really fast. So just little things. I was like, I was already in debt from the loss. And then to keep up with payroll, I was doing like the weekly loans. Like you just got to do like the PayPal
Yeah,
like weekly loan.
crack loans.
And I did it. Like I did it. I got through it. And we still have one that's like almost paid off now. But truly, it's somehow like by the grace of God, we're making it. It's like we're able to pay for things. We're not super behind. My leasing company, I did get behind on rent and they were able to like work it out to where they basically like split what I still owed into like the remainder of my lease. So they've been very helpful, like regardless of being crazy expensive, like very helpful in like being lenient with it. But it's been a lot of learning, like learning systems and process. And I'm down to like 5 team members now. I'm like, bigger isn't always better. Had to learn that, but and just hiring like A players and giving expectations for like, hey, you have to produce a certain amount to stay employed here. Like that's hard to do when you have culture fits that like can't do the sales part of it. So it's just been a ton of learning and praying.
It is amazing when you build this beautiful thing and then you realize the business side of it is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they don't tell us. Like, I've been to business school, but they didn't even tell me. Like,
Yeah.
Gina, the thing that you're amazing at is extension and culture and people. But then, oh, by the way, here's all the complexity of running a business.
Right, right.
And
And you
it's
have to learn through mistakes. Like you can do all the coaching in the world, but I think everyone has like very similar pain points. I think no matter the business, like I've learned that too through a ton of business trainings, but it's like no one person's situation is truly identical. So like, and I couldn't have gone back and known like, okay, like you make mistakes. And I'm like, I trusted this contractor and I lost this. And then I moved in here and you think you're doing like the right thing at the right time. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well now I've learned that I won't do that again. But all you just have to try to press ahead, you know?
Yeah, I had a mentor that told me those were expensive. I was paying expensive tuition, right? Like you can go to
Yeah.
school and learn by books, or you can just be in business and learn. And that's $10,000 tuition of how to not do XYZ, or
That's a good, yeah.
$5,000 of how to not get into a lease, or all those lessons. But girl, you ain't gonna do those mistakes ever again.
I know. I did have a friend that's like a pretty successful commercial real estate owner, and he's like a developer and stuff. And I sat down and was like, I don't even know what to do. I feel like I just blinked and $100,000 is just like down the drain. And he was like, oh, well, that means you've actually like made it in business, because if you haven't lost 100,000, you will at some point or another, no matter what business you're in, like just lose more money than you thought. So it is. And it coming from my background, I think it's taken constant reminding and like working with people truly like you to learn like, okay, money is a tool. Like, how can I make it work for me? It doesn't define me, like all these different things that are really important. And you have to, when I was waking up like with a pit in my chest, like I don't have rent, I'm going to get evicted. Like,
Yeah.
and thinking like I'm doing everything I can. Like I'm working 5 days behind the chair. I'm like chained to this thing. Like I'm doing everything right. I'm not spending irresponsibly, like going shopping or going on trips. Like I'm putting everything I have into this business and it's still not enough. So I was like waking up with that panic daily of wanting to quit, and something just keeps me going. Like I'm assuming it's God, but I'm like, okay, like I know that I have a place to mentor other people and build stylists. And I've honestly learned that I love the business more than doing hair. Like I never thought I would say that, but I really do love business, as even in the midst of losing so much money.
That's huge, Gina. So when did you realize that the CEO hat, like the owner of the business, the entrepreneur hat, was a better fit for you than the stylist hat? Because that's a huge transition that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with.
Yeah. And I think it's also a different transition from an educator hat. Like I always was like, okay, I know I'm a good educator, and not a lot of hairstylists are. Like you might be good at hair, but you're not great at teaching other people. There's even a lot of people that are charging a lot of money for classes that I've even hosted. And I've been like, oh, like you're not really teaching people. So the CEO hat, I would say, really, I went to one conference. It wasn't even a conference. It was like a like group intensive in January of 24. I had like the week before that, our pipes froze in the salon. It was like a year after opening, still in like the pitfalls of like dying in payroll and debt from my previous loss. And I was like, I have got to learn this, like this business stuff. So I had started one group training, and then I got invited. Salon Service Group invited me to another one with a company called 124 Go, and they are in Atlanta. And this owner is incredible. Like he actually started hair school because his girlfriend at the time in like the 80s was making a ton of money, and he just wanted to own a business. So he was like, I want to learn this salon business. So he did. He went to hair school, and then he apprenticed one of the top salon owners in Atlanta. And now they have this massive coaching company, and he owns a school, and they literally do like, they generate like 11 million a year. It's pretty wild. And taking his intensive, I was just like on the edge of my seat. There were probably like 10 of us in there. And I was like, I do love this. Like being able to know, like, if I implement this, I can make a difference is kind of cool. So I don't know. I'm not super detailed. Like I don't love systems and processes and the follow-up of things. Like that's not me, but I'm definitely a visionary. So I love that, like taking something and building a vision.
So what is the vision? What is the dream for Slay Bae?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can't wait until we are like financially stable. I look back and remember like I've always been a giver, sometimes to a fault. You're going to look at my stuff later and be like, nope, you can't give that. I'm like, who wants to go on a trip? Like,
thank you.
But yeah, I really love to like take care of my team. And so that's like a big part of success. Like I want my team to make as much money as they want and to have success in their own way. Like that alone is like part of my vision, is like being able to know that I have a space to provide that. But I would say, I mean, profit wise, like I want to be the salon that's profiting like 20%, that's doing like at least 3 million a year. And on the side, I'm building my own private education too, and doing the hair extension thing. So I don't even know. Like, I think the vision is just having that like financial freedom, but also loving it and not feeling burnt out.
Yeah. I love it. I am so excited. Let's talk about the whole reality TV show thing for a minute. Because not many people are like, yeah, I'll sign up for a TV show and marry a random person and see how it goes. So this was in the midst of you and the debacle of the leases and the buildouts. So how did this come about for you?
So let's see. I had applied before when I thought things were like still good with the build out. Like I'd gotten an Instagram message initially in like February, and I was like, that sounds weird. I'm not going to do that. And then my friend and I went to celebrate our birthdays in Mexico. And while I was there, my brother and sister-in-law were like, you should audition for this show. Like, why not? You do great. Like they basically were like, you don't ever spend time in like a relationship. They were like, you're like independent to a fault. You're like all business. And we think it's time. Like you need to like put yourself out there and meet somebody. And I feel like I don't know. I just wouldn't really commit to it. Even if the right guy came along, I was like, I don't know, I'm busy. So I was like, okay, this could be a good risk. And if it doesn't work out, it's like 3 months of my life, and it'll be a good experience. Not thinking I would get picked. Like I really deep down was like, they're not going to pick me because I applied in May. And so I was like, they were already like way past the interview process. And then I got married in July. So I got picked very quickly. And are you familiar with like culture index or predictive index or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. So on those scales, I'm like the maverick or the daredevil.
Yes.
So I'm like always running towards vision. So things just don't scare me, which is sometimes a problem. But I always think about like worst case scenarios. And with that, I was like, this sounds like a really good opportunity. And the worst case, I like meet good friends and I learn what I actually like might want in a relationship, because I hadn't quite done enough like introspective work to figure that out. And that was exactly it. Like I did it, and me and the guy just didn't have any chemistry. Like we logically, like if you put us on paper, it looked pretty
all
good.
added up.
Yeah, but like we just were not attracted to one another. People would be like, just have a couple of drinks and like, make out or whatever. And we would be like, I literally was like, I have, and it's still not there. So like if you're having a drink and you don't want to kiss the person, like I don't think it's there. So we did give the whole process, like we stayed in it. We were like, we never know if a spark could be there, but it was all like friendship for us. And I will say, from that experience, I have had a boyfriend for about 2.5 years. So I think like the idea of like the process worked for me, but it wasn't the right person.
It was the wrong person.
Yeah.
So you went through the show, stayed married to him, and then realized you both looked at each other and be like, thanks, you're cute, but no.
Yeah. So the premise of the show is you literally get married, like you meet at the altar. So you literally are like, hello, Gina, nice to meet you. Like, and your family's there, everything. So that's pretty much like the first or set. They do like a little background episode and then it's that. Well, then you go on a honeymoon, move in for 8 weeks. And at the end of the 8 weeks, you have a decision day, which is where you say what your decision is. So we did like on our decision day say, like, hey, we're getting a divorce, which most people knew because they could tell we were like friends the whole time.
Yeah.
Everyone would, comment like it's not friends at first sight on Instagram. So we knew like it was very obvious that we weren't like into it. And then we actually had to stay married until we were married for a year and a half because the whole show has to air. And
So you
so,
can't divorce until it
yeah,
goes out.
yeah, because it's public record and people that love that show, like they will go on and search and see like did they get divorced yet? And so we actually didn't get divorced. I mean, by the time we did it, we're like, oh yeah, it was like we kept forgetting about it because we just didn't have anything to like split. We didn't
Yeah.
have anything really other than just paperwork to file that said we were, married. So yeah, that was about it. I mean, it was a crazy process. And we do have two friends that stayed married on the show. I have a podcast with two of the girls from the
Yeah.
show, but our two friends that stayed married, they're pregnant with twins. So
Amazing.
the world's going to love you. Like, that's such a crazy story. Like, you married a stranger and then you guys are pregnant with twins. And they said it on their honeymoon. They were like, we want one boy and one girl. And that's what they're pregnant with. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, they're gonna get on another series so quickly.
I know. They need like their own little show. It's pretty cute.
I love it. I love it. So do you still talk to the guy anymore or no?
I mean, kind of. We're all on like a group chat. We'll send like the happy birthday text back and forth or, just funny memes and stuff. But that's actually one of my most like asked questions. And it's funny because we're friends because we were like put into that
Or
together.
sticky?
Yeah. And like I have a boyfriend now. He has a girlfriend now. So it would be pretty awkward if it was like,
Weird.
hey, you want to hang out? So, we're like acquaintances at best, but we don't have this like ongoing friendship. It's like we just had a crazy experience together.
You had this great life experience and it helped you prepare you for your next relationship.
Yeah, literally, that's it on both parts. Like he's been with his girlfriend since like the day we ended filming too. So it's funny.
So it's like, thanks for
We
preparing
really learned.
future
We
stuff.
prepped each other.
Also, not a loss, right? Like in your scenario,
Yeah.
risk, worst case scenario. Well, now you're ready for your next long-term relationship. Amazing.
Right. I mean, we both said that too at the end. Like we went to dinner. His birthday was like right before our film decision day. So I like took him to dinner and got him a cake and stuff. And this was like not filmed, but we were just like, we are thankful that we went through the process and we would have done it all over again with the same person. Like regardless of it not working out, like we feel like we had a good enough experience with each other. And we feel like we learned a lot through it.
I love it. So then how did the social media and this show help the salon? Because I imagine while filming and all of the chaos, it had to have boosted, you know, exposure out to the world as to who you are and your skill set.
A little bit. I definitely get recognized. We didn't have this like wait list of clients or anything come in from the show. I've had a few clients that have found me from the show for sure. But honestly, as far as like education and stuff, I think it kind of hindered because my Gina Does My Hair account was like kind of boosted as far as education and connecting with other stylists. And then post show, it was like all reality TV. And so when I would start posting on that account and I would share like hair or the educational stuff that I was used to sharing, it would get no engagement. But if I posted a video of my boyfriend, it would get like 50,000 views. Yeah. So I was like, wait, this audience like doesn't want to see, like they don't care about hair and education. So I've actually started a separate education page for the hair and for like my classes and stuff. And it's kind of been nice to have like, okay, I know my audience is here and I can like talk to them and I don't feel like it's like, oh, who am I talking to when I post on this account?
Yeah, it's not a mixed message. It's if you want to see Gina
Yeah.
and the reality and the relationship and the life, it's this one. If you want to see Gina and the
Yeah.
hair and the education and you want to learn about extensions, here we go.
Yeah. But it was tough in the beginning because I used that account to build my business so much. Like I posted all education and hair on there and it's literally Gina dot does my hair. So it was like fully for that. And then now it's kind of like, I guess I'll just transition it to more like lifestyle because most of my following wants to see that and my dog Hank.
Yes, your dog is super cute.
Did you watch the show? Have you seen any of it?
I watched a couple of episodes. Most of my
Okay.
team is binging it. And so the Slack channel that we have for you as a client
Oh
is
my God.
mostly about the show, not about our book, about your books. I'm like, hey, by the way, but did we get the statement we needed? They're like, oh, did you see in this episode? And I'm like, y'all.
Oh my God. I need to get like a Zoom call with them just to go over like the show with them and see what they like about it. It's funny. I had a lot. I mean, we went back and forth. There were definitely times that I was like, "Oh my gosh, I did not get that great of an edit." Like there was one like huge deal where I'm so used to the word like ginger in the salon. Like there's literally a extension swatch with Bellamy called ginger for like a for talking about red hair. And they edited this big thing about like how they kept asking if I like redheads. And I'm like, oh, I don't like dislike redheads, but like it wouldn't be like my first attraction, like typically I like guys with like dark hair, dark eyes. And they want you to openly talk about that kind of stuff. And so the way it was edited looked like I was like a total redhead hater. They were like, they used a clip that said I don't prefer gingery features or something like that, and it blew up. I looked like the villain. Like it was crazy. So
You never
interested to hear your team's intake on or input on that.
I'll go into the Slack channel and tell you, find out. Yeah, there's no telling. But
So
that's the
funny.
problem when there's a camera on you so long, because you could say one offhanded thing and then all of a sudden it get blown out.
Yeah, people always ask, they're like, is it scripted? Is it scripted? I'm like, it's not scripted, but it is prompted, meaning like him and we had to kind of put our foot down in the beginning because they have all the paperwork of like what, and they ask you a million questions on like physical, like it's crazy the amount of stuff they ask down to like eye color, but they're matching your husband. So they're like, okay, we want to get as close as we can get. And so they have all of that, and them knowing that they matched us differently gave them the route to be like, okay, well, let's kind of hone in on this and see if we can get any drama out of it,
Right. They're trying to
basically.
stir the pot.
Yeah, so it's like we kind of had to like put our foot down because our entire honeymoon, we couldn't sit down and talk about anything else other than our physical attraction. And we were like, we just met like 3 days ago. And they would be like, so are you attracted? Why not? What would make you more attracted? Like just very uncomfortable. And if you look uncomfortable filming, even if it's with like the people that are interviewing you and the producers, all the viewers see is that you are uncomfortable towards who you're talking to. And so it makes it look like this tension with each other. And it was interesting for a while. Like we got back and we were like, we're done talking about physical attraction. Like
We're done.
either you're gonna let us have fun together or we're just gonna like stop filming. So it was a tough time for sure. But I remember more good times than bad.
And here you are, salon open,
Salon
stylist in
open.
there. You're wearing the CEO hat, and we've got a boyfriend and a dog.
Here
So
we are.
life doesn't suck.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it. Gina, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Where can people connect with you?
So I would say Instagram, my reality TV people, if you want that, is going to be Gina.doesmyhair. And then my hair extension education is Slay.signature. And then our salon is Slay Bae Beauty Co.
I love it. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Gina. The lessons learned in the struggle are real, and I appreciate you being authentic and sharing your story because it matters. Because there's other people out there that need to understand, oh gosh, don't do that.
Yeah.
I
I
love it.
appreciate you just giving me the outlet to share my story.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. And for our listeners out there, remember that it's not what you make that matters, it's what you keep. If you need help understanding your numbers, just go to pamjordan.com. We'd love to help you.